the crying child. But have you ever noticed that that kid doesn't have a name? I mean, it's been 6 years since he was introduced into the franchise in FNAF 4, and we still don't have any hints as to what crying child's name might actually be when he's, you know, experiencing literally any other emotion. Wait, is that crying child? But no, that's happy child, and that's angry child, and that's confused child. That's apathetic child. That is passionate child. Nope, not that one. Ooh, is that emotionally repressed child? Hashtag relatable there. But really, take a moment to think about that. We know the puppet's name, Charlie, and her father, Henry. We know that baby was originally Elizabeth Afton. Purple guy / Springtrap is William Afton. Other purple guy is Michael Afton. There's the missing children's incident victims, Jeremy, Fritz, Susie, Gabriel, and Cassidy, the vengeful spirit, who is at least one of the things trapped inside Golden Freddy. I mean, there is a name for pretty much every single character in this franchise, except for this one kid. The one kid who, wouldn't you know, was also important enough to have the first on-screen death of the series. Feels like we should probably be able to solve this one by now, right? Like, we should probably have gotten a name for him somewhere along the line, or at the very least, the means by which to solve for his name. The pieces have got to be in place for us, right? Well, today might just be the day where we solve exactly that. One Reddit user named Wolfie1740 Kingdom thinks that they've cracked the code to finally solve the final name of the FNAF mystery, to finally give the crying child, the Bite of 83 victim, a proper identity. So break out your tambourines, theorists, because it's Morty time. It's a theory review.
Leave your theories in the comments below. I'll pick my favorites in the next episode of Morty.
Now, today's theory starts where all the best theories begin, dabbing Chica. That's right, folks, we're back to the most important lore item in the whole franchise. Not any of the novels. Certainly not the games. Those are just afterthoughts at this point. Nope, it's back to the children's activity book, FNAF Survival Logbook. In a past FNAF theory, we had a huge revelation about how this thing works. Basically, there are 3 people present within this book. There's Mike, who's alive and always writes everything in red pen. There's Cassidy, who haunts the book and speaks in ghostly faded text, but there's a second spirit here, the crying child, who's forced to communicate by actually altering the words that are found in the book. The example that proves it is right here. Cassidy says, "The party was for you," and the crying child responds on page 89 by altering the text of the book to read, "It was for me." We know FNAF 4's party wasn't for Mike, and we know Cassidy wouldn't be saying this to themselves. As such, it must be crying child acknowledging what Cassidy has said. Same thing here on page 59 with Cassidy asking, "What do you see?" and crying child answering on page 1, entering the actual print of the logbook. So that alone was pretty huge, and it went a long way to supporting the theory that both Cassidy and crying child possess Golden Freddy. And that alone would be pretty awesome, but it still leaves a major part of this book unsolved. You see, on page 95, there's a loose thread that's never been tied up, one that has personally driven me crazy for years. It's a grid where you're told to draw an 8-bit Foxy, just another random activity in this children's workbook, right? Wrong. The grid is numbered, and you can see in faint print that you're supposed to put letters into the squares, with the first few already being put in. So in our quest to solve Golden Freddy's name years ago, we collected the page numbers where the phrase "my name" appeared, we added them together per the instructions hidden in the book, and then we plugged those coordinates into the Foxy alphabet grid to get the name Cassidy. Good game, everyone. Let's all treat ourselves to some orange slices and give ourselves a pat on the back for solving another piece of the lore. Except, that's not how it worked. You can imagine my surprise and confusion when the numbers got plugged into not the alphabet grid that was clearly being telegraphed to us, but rather the word search. And apparently we were right to do that, since Scott Cawthon himself confirmed in his FNAF movie announcement the critical role that a child named Cassidy plays within the lore. But all of this still means one thing. The alphabet grid is awkwardly left completely unused, despite it obviously needing to be used to solve one of the mysteries within this book. And that's where Wolfie1740 stepped in. In the book, there's one Cassidy question that's left hanging. On page 31, Cassidy asks, "Do you remember your name?" Of course he does. He's the The crying child, duh. Crying child Afton. His friends call him Bite Victim for short, just rolls off the tongue. But seeing that the logbook had helped to solve for Cassidy's name, Wolfie suspected that it might also be helpful in solving this other name, using, you guessed it, the Foxy alphabet grid. What Wolfie noticed was that the specifically uses the Knight's 4 and 5 shift rating questionnaires to speak with Cassidy. For the first 3 nights, the section reads as follows: overall, fulfillment, health, stress, purpose, hope, and existential dread. But on nights 4 and 5, you have other things mixed in here, like I'm scared, and it was for me. So Wolfie reverse engineered things, taking Bite Victim's answers and matching them to the page numbers where Cassidy asks the question. To quote from Wolfie's own post, the first one is I can hear sounds. The page it's responding to is 75, which says, does he still talk to you? And one trend to notice is that all 4 pages have a piece of blood on it. Next is it was for me, which is responding to page 103's question of the party was for you. Third is I can't see, responding to page 59's what do you see? And last is I'm scared, which stumped me, so I went off of what I already had. End quote. He then fully filled out the Foxy chart with the alphabet, and going in the order that Bite Victim's answers appear, he followed the grid code to find the following 4 letters. To find the following 4 letters. E-V-A-N. Evan. After 6 years, could it possibly be that Evan is the name of the crying child? I'm not sure. Or at least I'm not convinced off of this alone. Don't get me wrong, I don't think that this is a bad theory at all. Quite the contrary, in fact. Anything that tries to figure out the true purpose of that stupid Foxy grid is gonna get credit in my book. The problem here is the methodology. Throughout the book, Cassidy asks a lot of questions, but only 4 of them actually matter. Wolfie also points out the bloodstains, but there are bloodstains on a lot of the pages throughout this book, not just those 4. And even then, an answer like, I can hear sounds, to the question of, does he still talk to you, it feels just a bit off. It's not very precise. You know, it feels random, arbitrarily trying to fit pieces together in a book that has been crafted to be anything but arbitrary. I mean, the Cassidy code alone